Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy stream. I'm gonna level with you. Today's deck list is like ghost pepper spicy. We are playing a Quest for Ula's Temple deck list. So, at the beginning of your upkeep, you can look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, you can reveal it and put a quest counter on this. So it's kind of like Delver of Secrets. Only, if you get 3 or more quest counters on this, at your end step, you can put a Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent creature from your hand onto the battlefield. Which is pretty powerful when you could like cheat in some crazy 7-drop creatures. So that's pretty cool. The deck list is very different from most blue Legacy decks in that because you want to have a high density of creatures, you don't really want to have cards like Ponders and Preordains and maybe even Brainstorms that will be whiffs. So, like, we're playing 31 creatures here in this 80-card Yorion Quest for Ula's Temple deck list. So, like, we're at maximum spice factor. A lot of our creatures are going to scry. So Fathom Seer and Augury Owl, for example, have ETB scry triggers that will let us kind of set up Quest for Ula's Temple a little bit better. Our Reason lets us scry 3, and the Aftermath that you can flashback from the graveyard says that you can look at the top card of your library, and you may put it onto a battlefield if it's a creature. If you don't, otherwise you draw that card. Dr. Bill, the companion nerf, I believe, is live on the 4th. So we get a couple more days of the format existing as it is, but we're once again kind of in a dead format where, like, the format on Magic Online isn't the same as, like, the format the way it, like, should be as of, like, rules changes and bannings and whatnot. So, like, we're in another lame duck format again. For like the 3rd or 4th time in recent memory. I will say that there are a couple of budget substitutions because we are playing an 80-card blue deck with a crap ton of cards from supplemental products or other products that are otherwise expensive. So there are 3 or 4 budgetary changes. These Coiling Oracles should probably be the blue-green Flash, Death Toucher, Snow Creature, Icefang Coatl. These Fluster Storms should be Force of Negations, but like the price of this deck list was like 800 or 900 ticks on Moto, so I made a couple of budget swaps because like I think Force of Negations are something crazy like 60 ticks each or something like that. But that's okay. Like, this is obviously a for fun stream anyway. No. Innistrad Revenue Service. I mean, I made those substitutions. So the deck list the donor submitted had 3 Force of Negations, and I changed 2 of those to Fluster Storms so that I can still have something that fills a similar role. Let's talk about the companion change once we're in a match and my opponent's not doing anything. Morning. Alright, and then obviously if we're going to be a Quest for Ula's Temple deck, we need some big dumb finishers. And of big dumb finishers, Stormtide Leviathan is probably the A+ one. So like it gets Island Walk, all lands are islands, so it's just like 8/8 unblockable. And creatures without flying or Island Walk can't attack. So essentially, like, it gets in play, it sits there and is like, hello, I am the big fish. I do the attacking here. Unless you have, like, Swords of Plowshares or, I don't know, some unbeatable 3-mana card that turns everything into an elk, you can't deal with me. Although we also do have some other things that are a little more problematic to answer. Inkwell Leviathan has Shroud, as does Simic Skyswallower. So we get to, like, put in some big creatures from limited formats and cubes of days past, which are pretty cool. We really have an oddball sideboard, if I'm going to level with you here. We have, like, some reasonable cards like Oko and Uro and Veil, and then we have absolutely like insane tech. Weather the Storm, for example, is rather hilarious. So you can be playing against a Storm deck, and they can like think they have the combo kill, and you're just like, oh no, you don't. I have reversed this situation, which is honestly rather hilarious. We also have Chalice of the Void in our Quest for Ula's Temple deck, and Grafdigger's Cage. Hold on, are we casting this? Or are we putting it into play? Super important distinction. Okay, put from hand onto battlefield. Okay, we're still good there. Okay, had to double check that one. Obviously, not 100% sure of the wording of this card. I haven't played with it yet. And then we also have the rather interesting Pearl Link Ancient, which I've actually played against this before. Flash can't be countered, prowess, and you can return 3 lands to your hand to bounce it. So, like, again, it's just a difficult to kill big idiot. Let's just hop into it and see how it goes today. It's been a rough week, folks. I don't know. I don't know about Street Wraith. Like, without the ability to cast that, it seems a little bit deep. The... Yeah, it's fine. They just invalidate all of the other companions except Yorian. That's fine, right? Guys? Guys? Yeah. I don't know. I'm not pleased with anything. So I have no idea how to play this deck. I don't know if I just like put Coward on Bird and try to scry towards an Ula's Temple. It seems kind of like we mulligan towards Ula's Temple and we try to meme as many times as we can. How deep do I mulligan memeing? We're here to have a good time. Where's my quest? I'm trying to mulligan for a single card in an 80 card deck list. What the fuck am I doing? I should have kept hand 1. Never mind. Hand whatever number this is great. Alright. You get rid of 3 of these. The Spike in me wants to keep the Oko. Whatever the fun-loving one in me wants to keep the Simic Sky Swallower. Oh, ooh. That's tough. I'm gonna hope that we redraw a big dumb idiot at some point in this game. Don't Thoughtseize me. Good. Let's get stifled. I haven't been stifled in a while. Did not get stifled. I bet we can 2-3 based on the, like, randomly drawing Oko in some games. The real question is, how many times do I get to cheat a Leviathan into play over the course of the stream? And by Leviathan, I mean like any big dumb vat sea idiot. Yeah! Tabitha, would you remind me which match was today? Oh god, that Yorian's land match was insane. Like, holy cow. Honestly, most of that league is just like crazy. There's a match or two where like Oko comes down and I just like hate my frickin' life. But a lot of the matches in that league are just like, there's no way I can possibly win. I don't know, I kind of... Oh, rude. Rude. Lynn, this is 100% a meme deck right here. No questions about that. Yeah! Perfect draw. My greed is not punished. Alright. I feel like I set the over-under line at 3 for number of times we cheat in a big dumb idiot. I feel like that's about the right number. I said always yes to this. Don't we have Sylvan Library in here? Fairy Seer. Good job, Fairy Seer. I really should have just like Oko'd and plussed and then tried to kill the Teferi. But this way's better if they like use a removal spell on the Coiling Oracle. The old instant speed ponder. Lynn Chalice, congrats, by the way. I think you had a pretty deep run at something recently. Was it the Lotus Box Open, maybe? So, If I just let this standstill sit here, the Teferi ticks up one more time, then bounce my quest for Ula's Temple, and I'm pretty far behind. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and break the standstill here. Like, this Teferi is such a nuisance against what my deck is trying to do. Normally, decks can't do that great of a job. We'll just bottom both of those. Decks can't do that great of a job at answering my stuff. That's, like, very much not the case here. Actually, maybe I'm playing this matchup wrong. Maybe this matchup is, like, let the standstill sit in play forever, get a cavern, hold it in hand, and then just resolve a big, dumb idiot that's shroudy and uncounterable. Harry can bounce their own standstill. You make a fair point. I have not been overly impressed by this card by Legacy standards. Like, by Legacy standards, this card is annoying, but it's not like the end of the world. I've heard severe complaints about it in other formats, though. Like, Teferi is the sort of card that doesn't necessarily do enough on its own. What is this? It's big. Entreat? Oh! Whoa! Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create an XX blue shark creature token with flying, where X is that spell's converted mana cost. Yo, this is cool as hell. Does this return sharks? Thank God it returns sharks. I'm so happy with what my opponent is doing. Like, good for them. Alright. Always guess to triggered ability from Quest for Ula's Temple. I really fetch that away, but it's fine. We might want it later. I guess with this deck, I do need an upkeep stop on my own upkeep. I guess kind of the worst part about this is, like, I know my opponent has a Force of Will because they put it back with Mystic Sanctuary. I kind of have to hope this Whelming Wave, like, my opponent lets the Whelming Wave resolve because they can just make more sharks. My streaming schedule will be less consistent during the summer, but the result is I will probably stream more frequently. Mono Machos, we're playing Krakens? Leviathans? 80 card Yorian Quest for Ula's Temple deck. A Brazen Borrower. I guess that's good enough to draw. So here's the thing about trying to resolve this spell. My opponent just counters it and I die. So I think they're pretty likely to counter it with their 7 cards, one of which is Force of Will. Anything could happen, though. Shark Typhoon, man. We lost a Shark Typhoon. This is great. So, minus Teferi sorts of situations, I see Veil of Summer being pretty good. Brazen Borrower as a flash threat is fine. Same with this. These are probably fine. Probably don't want to fight over spells via Flusterstorm. Honestly, I don't even know how good my counter magic is. I guess my average card isn't particularly great. So having something that turns my extra big, large, dead cards into real cards is totally fine. I don't know how consistently the Fauna Shaman plan works out. Whelming Wave bouncing my opponent's like Snapcasters and such is slightly questionable, even though like it's totally fine against the Shark. Put 30 into the sideboard. Reasonable. I'm thinking like Fauna Shamans and Force of Wills are maybe the most questionable things left in the deck. We're certainly not cutting anything that costs 7. That's unthinkable. Commando, this is our first round with the deck. This is a donation deck list. It is very, very much a brew. This hand does nothing, right? Like, I cycle a big fat thing hoping to play a 3 mana connect, draw a card. I ship this. Sylvan Library. We have a winner. That was the wrong land to play. I should have played Trop or Snow-Covered Forest first so that I can save the fetch and potentially fetch away with something on Sylvan Library on turn 3. My opponent has a whole bunch of spell snares. I'm not sure if they're going to be in for post-sideboard games. I think the Sylvan Library is important enough that I'm going to just wait to cast it until turn 3. could C-Dasher Octopus first. Like C-Dasher Octopus at the end of their turn and then untap Sylvan Library. Yeah, the Sylvan Library is just like so good. It probably resolves there with Veil of Summer, but like if I can make them tap a little bit of mana first, that's cool. I also don't know how Mutate works. I thought I was never going to have to learn how that mechanic works. There's some weird top and bottom stuff going on there that all sounds vaguely sexual. I'll figure it out later. All right. All right, so you remember when I wanted to fight over Sylvan Library? JK. Let's see. Veil of Summer. Protection from blue and black. Nope. Cool. I can cast C-Dasher Octopus at their end of turn with Veil of Summer back up, I guess. Then that walks into like Snapcaster Rev. I might need to just try to resolve this, and then they'll Teferi bounce it, and everything is miserable, I guess. They don't have a threat in play. I could just take this opportunity to draw a bunch of cards. Playing against Standstill is so incredibly weird. But I think my current plan is try to make a whole bunch of land drops so that all my big dumb cards can be castable. And then at the point where I'm looking like I'm going to have to discard, or probably the turn before that, at their end step, I cast the C-Dasher Octopus and start there. Yeah, if they start cycling the turtle, I get a little more afraid. But I am not currently spooked. Alright. So they're gonna have a blast to start things off with. Alright. Now they have a threat. I think this is an okay point to do some stuff now that they have a threat in play. Normally I might wait a little bit longer. Oh cool, it just resolved. This Veil of Summer card, everyone is telling me is like really good and should be banned, but look, it's not doing stuff. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. One more turn. I really don't feel good about that resolving. That just means that my opponent has something like a Council Judgment that is going to answer that without me caring. Oh, they discarded a disenchant. Cool, I didn't notice that. I was told Veil of Summer is good against blue decks. I feel like I've been lied to. These Veil of Summer has now become quite bad. I might just cash these in for just straight up card draw at this point, because like hitting that next land drop is pretty important. One mana short of hard casting that. I'm not pitch casting that. Let's try to cycle again. Hit a blue card. We did hit a blue card. In which case, I think we are good with not having this thing in play. So the next question becomes, am I going to hard... yeah, that's okay. Am I going to crack this clue now? I think I'm going to crack the clue. I don't know how many more easy opportunities I'm going to get to crack it this game. Land. Okay, creature types. I have Leviathan covered, which is most of the ones that I care about. So there's also a Serpent and a Kraken, and Fairy Rogue. This is a Serpent as well, right? Yeah, that's a Serpent. Blue, 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 blue. This is just gonna get like a Source of Plowshare, and I'll be sad. But it's okay. Yeah, we have some all-stars from formats past in here. That's a boring way to die. Now I just get attacked by Snapcaster Mage and Shark for 3 turns in a row. That's anticlimactic. If I draw a different creature, I can play like Yorion plus that creature. Yeah, that was on board. Okay. I guess we're not technically dead. I guess I could draw a large hexproof creature. Oh, they put that on the bottom. Cool. Like a large hexproof creature would keep me alive. I can play Yorion, and then it's just bouncing dead. Alright, GG's. Not mad that I lost the Shark Typhoon. They get the pass for beating me. No complaints here. At least about this match. More generally in the world, you know, everything's going wrong, and Magic's not in a great state either. But, you know, that is what it is. I mean, we cast an uncounterable 8-drop. We're doing something right. Hey, good luck. You too. Do I keep this hand? Hello, everyone tuning in from Arkan's stream. You are in for a treat. We are playing a Quest for Ula's Temple Yorion deck. So things are a little bit crazy here. Yeah, Augury Owl. Legacy staple. Oh, we are going to try to release the Kraken. Don't you worry. As far as the spice level goes, this is pretty far up there, even by the standards of this stream. I don't think I want lands. Sylvan Library will find us lands if it resolves. Alright, now we have a big scary thing for later. So we could just be playing against some sort of Snowco deck. We could be playing against Miracles. It's a little too early to tell. We even could be playing against something like a Blue-Red Delver deck. Yeah. We'll draw another big dumb thing. Alright, cool. The double Stifle and double Snow-Covered Island is a little bit weird. I wonder if we're like playing against a Brew and we're playing against like a Stifle Knot deck. There was a mono blue like, essentially land destruction control deck that was floating around for a while. I need access to green. Prismatic Vista is awkward. Like, I'm bottoming that. I'm gonna go ahead and bottom that. I'm gonna take the Vista. I, like, don't know what my opponent is doing yet. But hopefully some birdie boys can bring home the W. So remember Red Hot, you can also click on the Cardboard Live extension, the cards that are on screen, and then you can just bring up the entire deck list and scroll over the cards. That may be easier if you have a large number of things that you're going to need to read. We got a library. Our clock isn't amazing right now. Like, our opponent has the better clock. Overall, things are pretty close in terms of a race. Yeah, but isn't most of the format right now kind of boring? Like, I love Legacy and all, but the past couple of weeks has been rough. I agree, deck fading is not boring. Brazen Borrower sure isn't good against True Name Nemesis. It's what I'm casting in this turn cycle. I'm gonna put that on top of the library. 3, 6, 12, 18. I really can't take another hit. Yeah, so I really enjoyed the companion metagame. Like, deck building was obviously beyond warped, and it was not healthy, but I thought the games were really fun. And then when we got dumped into the post-Luris world, it was just a return back to, like, games of Magic where a single card resolving that you don't have an answer to is often just the end of the game, and my decisions matter a lot less, and it's been a real letdown. Like, there's been so many games where just one turn of an unchecked Uro, Oko, Arcanist, and a handful of other cards has just really made for uninteresting games. And I'm trying to stay, like, enthused and give the format a chance, but it's been rough. Alright, should be dead to that. I believe I'm going to draw 8 off of Sylvan Library and kill myself, rather than let the fish people get me. I'm not dying to fucking merfolk. going out with dignity. So, what am I doing with my life? I don't know that I'm getting to, like, cast big dumb stuff against this deck. I also don't know, like, what threats they're playing, but, like, Veil of Summer to protect my stuff seems totally fine. And more big, scary things to resolve also seems okay. I guess Whelming Wave is fine against True Name. There's a Merfolk Rogue, so it doesn't check any of those boxes. This seems a little clunky to try to work out when I'm under pressure. Yeah, like, we are definitely playing against Spice Piles today, and I do appreciate that. Oh, maybe this one comes in. It's uncounterable. I have no idea what I'm doing in terms of sideboarding. I don't know. Fauna Shamans feel weird to me. I feel like I need to keep the Force of Wills and Force of Negations to deal with True Name. Like, I just don't have that many answers to that. You. They gotta have, like, some bounce spells or something in there, right? So let's just, like, junk one of those randomly. Every time Wizards makes an announcement, I'm hoping that the change they make gets me excited about Magic again. And that's just not happening right now. Yo, I'm in. And that's really unfortunate. But, like, for by legacy standards, that probably means that all the companion decks except the Yorion decks are dead. The Yorion decks are still possible. The question becomes, like, is 80 card with Yorion better than 60 card without Yorion? And that already was a real question before Yorion was nerfed. So, like, the format doesn't change. It's just a question of which flavor of Snoko are you going to play against every 2 or 3 rounds. And most of the Snoko matchups are not particularly interesting for the decks that I've been playing. Because, like, Oko is worth about 6 of my cards on average. I don't want to be Debbie Downer all the time. But this is the lowest that I have been on Magic in the, I don't know, 10 years or whatever that I've been playing Magic at this point. How long have I been playing Magic? I think it's 9, actually. Yeah, I've been playing since 2010, so somewhere between 9 and 10 years. A Stormtide Leviathan, you say? Don't mind if I do. So I guess I just resolve another one of these and just like make it so that bounce spells are bad against me. And then the question is, do I fetch second blue now for Whelming Wave, or do I give myself access to green? I think I have fewer green sources, so I should get access to green. It's just almost every creature and artifact-based deck is just beaten handily by Oko. Okay, so opponent doesn't have more lands. Oh, so it is entering my revealed zone, but my opponent isn't seeing it. I see. Always yes. Why don't I play Painter? Nobody's played me to pay Painter. I'm basically not playing any Magic in my personal time these days. It's 3-ish. I will force that. It's 3-ish streams a week plus one set of matches for daily death and taxes, and that's 4 leagues. That's good enough for me. I'm not so gung-ho about the format that I'm entering in all of the various like Magic Online events that I could be playing in. Which is a shame because like a lot of times in the summer I get fired up and like I have the time and flexibility to play all of these premier events or like travel to events, and traveling to events is no good right now. And I just don't feel like there's any deck that I can reasonably play in Legacy that I would be happy with my win rate with without playing a deck that I would find very boring to play. How many spinners would you play in Enchantress? 4. Full stop. What is Pearl-like Agent? That is also a Leviathan. Maybe I should name Rogue with this one. I guess I also have this big dumb thing that I can cast. Serpent Bird. No, D&T is very bad versus Snowco. An Oko is worth so much. It just stops everything that deck is doing. And Dead of Winter is just devastating. We're not going to blink any of these. And like Uro is bad enough under many circumstances. Like D&T has trouble closing gain, and Snowco has both Uro and Oko as recurring sources of life gain, in addition to things that are just either bigger than the creatures or otherwise deal with things. Oh, is this the whale? Alright, so there's a Preordain and a Brainstorm there. Whoa, Simic Sky Swallower, you say? So this Whelming Wave is like super sweet if it resolves. Nice. The whale also does not seem good to me. It seems like a lot of hoops to jump through when there's so many singularly powerful cards in Legacy right now, like Dreadhorde Arcanist, Oko, Burrow, Karn. Like, there's so many cards that you don't need to jump through too many hoops to make good, and I feel like the whale is just a little bit too much work. But in a deck like my opponent's, very specifically, where you're not otherwise really using the graveyard, and you want more efficient... Oh, a Dismember. And you want more efficient threats. Like, I guess I can kind of see it. Alright. Flip me a creature. Oh, it's happening! It's happening! I have heard of such a thing as show and tell. I myself would never cast that card. Not without a few Blood Moons in the main deck to, you know, really mise the wins. I mean, I'm having a good time now. Yo, hold up. This triggers at each end step? What the fuck? Gonna be honest, didn't know it triggered at both of our end steps. That was great. Yeah, so the story goes that there was a local Legacy league that we're playing with proxy decks, and Blood Moon happened to be really good against the decks that people were submitting at the time, so I put together a show and tell Blood Moon hybrid main deck that was just looking to mise turn 1 and turn 2 wins as frequently as possible. And like, obviously that strategy is like maybe not good in a vacuum, but it was pretty darn good against what I was working with. I don't mind show and tell. I think the games where you just don't go off super quickly are a little more interesting than people give it credit for. But the games that people remember against show and tell are always the ones where it's just like Petal, Soul Land, show and tell, Omniscience, Emrakul, Grizzlebrand, draw 14. I don't know, I accidentally killed you with Release the Ants instead too, instead of attacking for 22. Get wrecked. I did it with Veil of Summer backup. It's pretty easy to remember that. Like, there's some cool games where you jockey for position and like you do some things that are really interesting. So, for example, I've cast a show and tell before with nothing to put into play in my hand in order to bait counter spells. So, like, there's things like that that can happen that are really quite cool, but those get overshadowed by a lot of other things. There's, of course, the classic example of Thomas Enevoldson playing D&T versus a show and tell deck where he, I believe, survives 2 different Emrakul attacks and wins. So, like, there are some really interesting games against show and tell. What do we do now? I don't know. We like fucking beat him to death with birds or something. Draw another quest for Ula's Temple. Let's go mana efficiency here and like let this get dazed if they want to daze that. I would like another land that's not a fetch land if possible. You're going to the bottom. The other Oko here is interesting. I think I'm going to bottom it. But it's close because a resolved Oko is pretty hot. I'm gonna top it. Because there's worlds where our fetch land gets stifled. I guess in worlds where our fetch land gets stifled, we don't want to draw that Oko. I'll trade your Delver for my bird. I am like on board with it. Fuck! I'm gonna untap this one. No, Pemin, the change doesn't go through for a couple more days on Magic Online. I think 60 card Snoko is better than 80 card nerfed Yorian Snoko, but I'm really not sure. Winter Orb's doing weird things to me. Let's hope some Delvers don't flip, eh? Let's hope some Delvers don't flip. So the high rolliest of high roll plays is Oko, Elk, Winter Orb. Delvers don't flip. Attack. Everything attacks Oko. I chump block Elk, and then I draw land to Whelming Wave all of that stuff back to their hand. That is the world in which I really see myself winning this game. Are we playing Quest for Ula's Temple and not planning on high rolling? Good point. Let's ignore the number of things that beat this. Daze, Force of Will, Dismember. Yeah. Alright, so now I'm going to die to the Delvers just flipping eventually. Yeah, like, I played a handful of Yorion decks, and the ability to just jam Yorion on 5 to just block something like Delver of Secrets is, like, so incredibly relevant. Yeah, you're playing Oko on turn 3, and then you're hoping to mitigate the rest of the board presence that Oko hasn't already eaten up on turn 4. So, like, there's beyond a real cost there. I was planning on petty thefting the Winter Orb, but now that they've done it at this point in their turn, it doesn't make a ton of sense too. At least my opponent's Delvers are, like, super unlucky. Do have that going for me. I'm a really mana-hungry deck, and this Winter Orb is really shutting me down. Like, I think I'm in okay shape. Yeah, it's not fine, but assuming that I draw a land and resolve Whelming Wave, it's okay. That is one card late. Things are not really fine now. Yeah. Chill. The companion change seems extremely arbitrary to me. Like, see what we can do here. See if we can get some tempo back. Kind of. This buys some time. But, like, the Winter Orb is still a problem. My opponent just goes, like, Delver again. And so then I force one of the Delvers. And then I try to, I don't know, do some stuff. Yeah, Reaple Cheap, that's probably the next plan. Like, the issue is that I don't really do a ton if I make myself a window here, right? At least, like, the Delvers suck. So, like, if I spike a land here, that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. Nope, we'll do it next turn. Yeah, like, I think the entire companion mechanic is now a flop that they've made this change. Because, like, now the companions have two different restrictions. It's a restriction of, like, deck building, which is very real, and then it's also a restriction of, like, huge amounts of tempo loss. So, like, now they're just not really exciting to play with, and when it's, like, one of your marquee mechanics of a set, that's not a great place to be. Brazen Borrower bounce this with Veil backup, and then I have, like, nothing to do afterwards except, like, play actual Brazen Borrower. Not great for me. Not great for me at all. Just wanted to see if I'd get a reaction there. I really should have just played a 1-1. It would have traded with the Delver. The Delver is never going to flip. Wow, things just worked. It's weird. In which case, I will cycle this and try to go towards something that matters a bit more. How do I beat your name Nemesis? By getting Stormtide Leviathan in play, I have 5 lands. I think I'm going to call that good. I can have another Petty Theft with Veil backup. Alright. It's awkward as to whether or not I respond now or respond in combat. Responding now means I can play around Hardcast Force, but a regular pitch cast force is already going to beat me. I also don't really think my opponent has counterspells right now. I'm going to make the highest upside play here. I could Petty Theft plus Veil of Summer protect it. but I think this is better. No, my opponent has already. It's the common legacy matchup of Ula's Temple versus Mono Blue Tempo. We've all seen it play out a lot of times before. All right, we got to cheat in 2 big dumb creatures that match, which was cool. I didn't realize that Quest for Ula's Temple lets you put him in both at your end step and your opponent's end step, which is kind of crazy. I don't think that this deck can afford to be an 80-card deck. Like, you really need Quest for Ula's Temple in your opening hand with this deck. And in an 80-card deck, you have less of a chance to go and make that happen. So I think this deck should be smaller. I also don't really like that we don't have real permanent answers to most things. Like, outside of Oko, well, I guess Oko and Brazen Borrower are partial answers to thing, in that, like, I can bounce things or elk things, but I actually don't have, like, a true removal spell in the 75. We're 0-2 currently, Arkin. We got a game, but not looking too great. The deck's really high variance. Yes, I am aware of the new companion rule. Seems disappointing. I mean high variance in that, like, we really need this card in our opening hand in order to do well, and we also made our deck into an 80-card deck, which means we're less likely to see that. Like, is it acceptable to keep a hand like this on 7, where I'm not really doing anything powerful or cool, but I have, like, 2 counter spells for if we're paired against combo? Nah. This hand, on the other hand, is beautiful. I honestly wonder if I'm just supposed to put a land back here, and for if Quest for Ula's Temple goes off, just have 2 things to put in, and have my opponent on a 2-turn clock. Actually, creatures without flying or island walk can't attack. I guess this is kind of an awkward pairing, so this is just going to cycle, in which case we'll pitch that. Thoughts on the rule? I think it has nerfed companions while also completely ruining the spirit of them. So I would call it a failure. It also feels very arbitrary. And Legacy specifically, it just like keeps the format in snow hell, so I'm not excited about it. My opponent, on the other hand, says this format is awesome. I try, friend. I really do. So Preordain would be more indicative of a combo-based deck than a control-based deck, but like we could be looking at either. Alright. Always yes, always yield. Should have just played Snow-Covered Island. Augury out, triple creatures on top. Let's go. That's pretty darn close. I want to cast Sylvan Library next turn. So let's go like bottom. Oh shit, no, undo. I want top. This isn't a brainstorm. This isn't a brainstorm. That's okay. No, look at how Quest for Ula's Temple is worded. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may look at the top card of your library. If it is a creature card, you may reveal it and put a quest counter on it. So we're only revealing creatures. It's going into the revealed zone because we're looking at it. Yeah, it is saying that I revealed an island. It's because I'm looking at it. It's not being revealed to my opponent. So if my opponent is a control deck, this is a moment where they bite. Okay, we could be looking at a blue-green show and tell deck. We could be looking at a deck like Ant. Be looking at a control deck still. Oh, so this is cool. I can put my creatures back on top to re-trigger Quest for Ula's Temple. That's actually like so legit. So, like, I'll put this back on top of Library, and then I'll pay 4 life to just get through these. We got some cool things going on here. Now I just don't want to see like Abrupt Decay into another Abrupt Decay. Something like that would be rough. What is opponent doing? Next turn I'll cast a Yorion and blink my owl. Okay, so they are some sort of show and tell based deck. Unfortunately, the creatures that they're going to put in have flying. But they are not Krakens, Leviathans, Octopuses, and Serpents. So that's cool. I don't think I want this. And I'll just like redraw Augury Owl next turn. Where are you? Here you are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Blink this here owl friend. As we know, owls, definite friends of sky serpents. We'll bottom the land, the Prismatic Vista for sure. Is this serpent slash bird tribal? You can get quest off of Yorion, oh my lord. Bottom land, top this bird. This one is spicy. Well, I mean, we're gonna try. Whelming Wave is a little awkward in the face of Omniscience, but we can maybe beat a Grizzlebrand? Opponent said, not gonna lie, I needed you to force me there. So they wanted me to force of will so that they could draw a card with Veil of Summers. Nice! That was a weird game. I don't think that quite plays out that way most of the time. Alright, this bounces an early creature. This shuts off cantrips. Oko is Oko. Veil of Summers are interesting, as are Fluster and Pearl Lakes. So the weird thing, though, is that like my opponent is going to have their own Veil of Summers, which like makes life horrible. Alright, what am I doing with my life? Oh, we're sure trying to get fatties into play. Alright, like I've done with every round, I feel like this card is awkward, I'm gonna cut it. Fauna Shaman is slightly more interesting here, because as I get to a stupid number of islands, getting access to Scourge of Fleets can bounce Grizzlebrands in theory. But that's like probably looking too deep. I'm gonna cut the Fauna Shamans again. Oh, I didn't start boarding in cards yet. This like Chalice Veil of Summer Flusterstorm plan is also kinda sketchy. Alright. Oko, get in here. Brazen Borrower, you're a clock. Get in here. Maybe we don't Chalice when I'm on the draw, but we do Chalice when I'm on the play. That might make sense to me. I'm going to want to play all of these. That puts me at 80. Pearl Lake Ancient is probably better than... What is it? The Riverwinder? Being paid in beer is totally okay. Often a very satisfying way to get paid. Because you're like, hey, help me move this furniture, and I'll give you beer. And you're like, okay, I will do that. And then, like, you've worked hard, you feel satisfied, and then you get beer, and it's like, haha, that was great. Been on a little bit of beer recently. It's not mono beer. Been a decent number of Tom Collins recently. It's getting to be summer, getting to be hot. Those are nice and refreshing. That's been one of my recent go-tos. We're also going to like totally ignore Blood Moons, because I don't think my opponent is going to have them. Or Back to Basics. It blinks my scrying things. Oh yeah, we've resolved it. We have a counterspell for my opponent's shenanigans. We're good. What are you, a bird serpent, correct? Not a bird snake. Yorion recycles triggers for all of our various ETB scry creatures as well as Coiling Oracle. It's also just something you can play out when you get to the awkward mid game where like you're not to 7 or 8 mana yet to start casting big dumb things like this. Quest for Ula's Temple is a sweet card. I really like the quest cycle. What was this? Zendikar, right? No, Worldwig. I forget which symbol is which. It's been too long. But like Quest for the Holy Relic was something that I played around with for a little while and had like a lot of fun playing with. Always yes, always yield. No, we're not just hard casting these things. We're trying to cheat them in with Quest for Ula's Temple, but that's not always going to happen. But yeah, we have like just put Cavern on Leviathan and gone to town a couple of different times. Alright. There's really good against my almost mono island deck. Also something that punishes me for not playing Cavernous Souls in this turn cycle. They can now get green and cast Show and Tell with Veil of Summer back up. Whoa! Excuse me. Excuse me. That is some of the coolest shit I've ever seen. Oh man, and it's like protection from Oko. Always yes, always yield. That thing can also trample, which is good against our Operation Chump Block plan. This turn's a little tricky. I think I'm gonna just protect my life total here and put the Augury Owl on top and redraw it next turn. And then we're gonna go Cavern on Bird. And now I can scry 3. Going to send away Prismatic Vista. I think I keep the Veil there. And draw it next turn. So I'll have Force of Will, Pitch, Coiling Oracle with Veil of Summer backup in future turns. I think I'm good with that. So this Oko is going to start turning birds into elks. And then I can chump block the Shifting Ceratops as to not die to it. Oh no, they're blue! Or hold on, I'm going to convert them to green. Yeah. Okay. No, it's fine. Plan still works. So it's worth 4 life to keep this. And we put this on top. I can't Oko plus Veil. Yeah, double elk will be the plan. Really don't want to force a will without Veil backup, but here we are. Okay. All I need is something to buy 1 turn. But this has protection from blue, so Augury Owl can't chump block. With one turn, I get Quest for Ula's Temple stuff. So maybe I lost this game by putting the Veil of Summer into my hand a turn too early. Could be at 13 life instead. And then double, I get 2 turns of Quest for Ula's Temple going off. Yeah, that was probably an error on my part. I wanted to see new cards. God, is it another one? Intuition for show and tell, show and tell, cast show and tell. I put in Stormtide Leviathan, and Shifting Ceratops no longer kills me? Question mark. I boarded out my Fauna Shamans, which would be an out currently. Yeah, I have that impression as well. Like, they've already floated... Or no, they haven't floated mana, that's just Carpet of Flowers. Like, they could... Yes, that's weird. So what gets me out of this situation? Like, all my crap is blue. Weather the Storm would do it. Uro does it. I think I give them the Force. I have Veil of Summer to protect many things that I could play. The Orion's also blue. Like, drawing the 1 of Uro in our 80-card deck gives me the life gain it takes to survive 1 turn. So, if I give them Force of Will, I shut off that line. And Uro might be, like, actually my only out, because the Fauna Shamans are in the sideboard. I don't have a non-blue blocker. Whelming Wave also gets me out, actually. So I can't give them Force. Giving them Force kills me. I'm gonna give them Ceratops. It can't get haste this turn and kill me. You're also blue. And I am just dead. Unfortunate. Shifting Ceratops just devastating tech against me. So the Uro was still on the sideboard as well, so that was not an out I was playing towards, so it was just mostly Whelming Wave. So this backup plan of Ceratops is more disgusting than usual against me. So we probably just ignore it. Like, just, like, don't plan on beating it. I don't really get to interact with my opponent very much. Like, I don't get to remove their creatures. I can only really fight on the stack. Their show and tells are very awkward, though, so I do have that going for me. Ula's Temple on 1. Let's go. That is correct. Opponent says Dino versus Birds dual deck when. Yeah, so normally the blue-green Omni decks are quite good against slower blue decks. It's just kind of one of the natural predators. So when we're also a kind of clunkier version of a slow blue deck with a bit of a fragile combo that like also doesn't deterministically kill, that leaves us in a bit of a weird spot. Nice. Don't play Carpet Flowers. Good. Polluted Delta. It's not the end of the world. I don't want to put Cavern on anything in order to play Coiling Oracle. I think I'm going to try to Goldfish as quickly with possible due to Scries. Rather than playing Coiling Oracle, which has like the high upside of hitting a blue source and then like playing an additional card, I'm just going to play Fathom or Fairy Seer. Like hopefully Scry creature to the top. I'm going to bottom the Force of Will. Which is like normally something I would not do, but I think it's all about like get this quest for Ula's Temple to go off before my opponent beats me, either in a fair or unfair way. I don't know that I'm ever playing this Coiling Oracle. I think that's Force of Will fodder. Current plan is just get Quest for Ula's Temple to go off, dump in 2 creatures, and hopefully kill my opponent in 1 attack step. It's 14 damage the turn that Quest for Ula's Temple goes off. If I play Coiling Oracle and hit a land, there's worlds where I can cast Yorion next turn, and then do like Yorion Scrying plus Blinking Coiling Oracle. But I really don't want to pitch one of my threats to Force of Will. But let's do this anyway. I think I think high rolling is fine with a deck like this. I have revealed a Force of Will. That's okay, that has replaced itself. Bird Serpent. So let's name Serpent. And now the real question is, like, if my opponent casts something that I want to force it will, do I force pitch force or do I force pitch first idiot? That actually is really interesting. Prismatic Vista is not really what I want to see. Although if I get one more land, then I start getting into, like, I can hard cast a Force of Will territory. There's worlds where this is like intuition for just counterspell, counterspell, counterspell. We'll see what they do. Yup, that is indeed what has happened. Thanks for giving me the cool one. I very intentionally did do that. I didn't just click on the top one. I noticed. This game is going, like, glacially slowly, but is at least somewhat interesting. I don't have too much to say, unfortunately. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of worlds where my opponent just goes like, show and tell, I force, they go veil, and I have to force again. So now they're going to force back, and then I'm going to force back. They're going to be left with one card, and I'll want to top deck a land to play Yorion. I have gotten the uh-oh from the opponent. So they presumably have something like an Emrakul or Grizzlebrand in hand as their last card. I'm sitting on almost nothing. An Inkwell Leviathan. Do I want to draw that? I am one card away, one creature card away from being able to cast that, but just playing Yorion this turn is probably better. The payoff. Alright, so we return these. Let's put the Fairy Seer trigger on the stack first so that it resolves first. Calling Oracle, get a Brazen Bower, and then we scry 2. Prismatic Vista goes to the bottom. What about Oko? So I have 4, 5, 6 damage in play. I can make it 7, 8 next turn. All of this is already lethal. Oko allows me to beat a creature that they just show and tell into play. So I will go ahead and put that on top. So I have my opponent dead next turn. I can play around my opponent going show and tell land Emrakul by Oko making a food and sacrificing the food. So I'm not just going to like make one of my creatures slightly bigger here. Yep. That's just cycling. That is also just cycling. Okay, now I don't know what beats us. Ceratops just cuz. Ceratops just cuz. Elvish Spirit Guide Reach would be cool, but my opponent is like still basically dead, right? So like I just turn this into another body. GG's. That was a really weird match. Elvish Spirit Guide Fog, yeah, but nobody ever beats that. I guess I should have considered playing another Oko there and then, like, elking yet another one of my creatures for a little bit more damage, but we still have lethal. But, like, in the, like, actual factual Elvish Spirit Guide reach line, I don't have lethal, right? We have officially put up a match win with Quest for Ula's Temple against a real deck at that. Opponent's sideboard plan was pretty cool. I don't know how many Ceratops there are, but like I like the tech. Like if so many people are going to be playing like Snoko piles with Oko and a bunch of varying counter spells of all sorts of natures, then like having an uncounterable threat that has protection from blue built in is totally fine. The 2/3 dream is indeed live. Technically the 3/2 dream is live, but like let's slow our roll here. It feels to me like these are too slow to be good. These are also quite slow. Yeah, let's do that later. Marshall C is responsible for this deck list. We are playing against Gyruda. Whelming Wave is kind of... Wait, hold up. What are your creature types? Fuck, it is a Kraken mirror. Whelming Wave is not good at all. Son of a bitch. Alright, am I supposed to just keep a hand that has a Force of Will in this matchup where, like, it's one of my few pieces of real interaction? Like, Force of Will isn't even that good against the Gyruda decks because they have Cavernous Souls and they are playing a better mid-range game than they used to. My opponent did go to 5 cards. I will force the ever-loving shit out of an LED. I think I am on thinning my deck as soon as possible. Let's use up these fetch lands. We need to get towards our good cards, whatever cards those are exactly. No. No. Also no? You get anything cool? You can convert something into a Sea Dasher Octopus? Feels like no? Feels like no. I don't know that I have time to, like, play Fauna Shaman, untap, discard Sea Dasher Octopus, and then get, like, attacks starting with it that late. Nice. So we can mutate onto this next turn, and I'll have to figure out how mutate works. I don't think we're casting Quest for Ula's Temple this game. I think we're trying to play weird tempo. So that's going to go on bottom. This is going to go on bottom. What about Coiling Oracle? So next turn I have 3 mana available, and just like morphing, mutating Sea Dasher Octopus. I don't have room to play this. But on turn 4 I might, and then I can get an additional card out of Yorion. Yeah, that's fine. LED specifically is the card that I would like to Force of Will. Otherwise, we will accept Gyruda. So this is a Chromox with nothing under it. Now I'm not going to force that. They didn't play a Cavernous Souls. Phyrexian Metamorph. You can have an Augury Owl or an LED, that's fine. So now I don't mutate this. Okay, how the hell does mutate work? If I mutate this onto the creature, does it become a 2/2 with flash, like 2/2 draw a card thing? Is that what I want? I legitimately do not know how this mechanic works. So if I put it under, I gain the abilities and stats. Is that how it works? There's 52 of you here. One person has to know how mutate works, right? One of you has to play another format. Oh, it's over for stats, under for abilities. Okay, so it's a 2/2 if I put it on top with Augriel's abilities. So if I put it on bottom, I get to draw a card. Oh, it always gets the abilities. The over/under determines the power and toughness. So if I put this on bottom, okay. I thought the mutate mechanic was pretty horribly worded. Okay. So cast with mutate here. Pay 2. So under. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Wanted over. Over would have given me the power and toughness. Top is alright. Whatever. '50-50 shot. You're just going to get owls. Yeah, sure. It's really awkward that like this scries them towards Cavern of Souls, which is like most certainly relevant. And then if I bounce these things, it's not the best for me. Okay, so they copied their owl instead of my owl. So that's good. Another quest for Ula's Temple. Okay, do I just like Whelming Wave, bounce those, get in there, draw a new card, make them reuse their mana, they get more scries? I don't know. Alright, we're not an octopus. This mutate mechanic is dumb. In which case, let's just Coiling Oracle. Okay, cool. I have Force of Will and Force of Negation. Wish I had a 2/2. Yeah, having one quest is fine. I'd rather have... shit. Alright, there it is. So now they get uncounterable Garuda. If we don't die, Whelming Wave is kind of hilarious. Still a Kraken. Alright, so now that they have, like, essentially lethal worth of things here, I'm just going to go ahead and concede. We're very much not meant to win this matchup. We're going to board Whelming Waves out. We'll start there. Chalice on 0, yes. Grafdigger's Cage, yes. Veil of Summer, no. Brazen Borrower, yes. Flusterstorm doesn't really seem good. Weather the Storm is interesting. No, I guess it's really not. They're putting those into play. JK. Oko to Mize and steal some games with is totally fine. Let's junk those and call it good. We're not even the best Kraken deck, not even close. Opponent's deck is like arguably tier 1. Ours is about tier 45. Give or take a little, you know, depending on where the metagame's at. Yeah, this is fine. Not necessarily exciting, but fine. Okay, that's what I was looking for. We go Tropical Island, and we get Chalice on 0 to shut off artifact mana. We can get Brazen Borrower bounce on an initial Gyruda, which is pretty good. Yeah, great. Our counter spells are dead. No respect, not even putting it on Kraken. Read the room. I can probably just tap out for Oko somewhat safely next turn. I don't have to worry about LED coming out of the middle of nowhere. Alternatively, I could just, like, end of turn, play a Brazen Borrower. But this is basically the one turn where I can really play Oko, because the opponent can go regular land followed by Soul Land, and that gets them to Gyruda mana. So this is the big turn where it's safe, or at least safe-ish for me to play this card. Now the question is, like, am I actually casting Quest for Ula's Temple? I believe that the answer is no. I'm going to leave up double Brazen Borrower and just be, like, super, super, super safe. Can't be countered. I would like to bounce you. Is that right? It doesn't copy the fact that it's an elk? It's a food with dethrone haste? Okay. Alright, that's very strange. I could exchange control of that food and give you my Chalice, and then I can turn it into a elk next turn. I'm just gonna make another food. That feels not right to me. But I'm not going to claim that I have the greatest understanding of layers when it comes to clone effects. But it definitely feels off. Yeah, you can crack your dethrony haste clue. So if opponent plays a clone effect, I can just exchange with Chalice, and then I still have lethal. So I can hold up Brazen Borrower stuff. And I don't need Sylvan Library, I don't think. I'm gonna hold up all my mana. I don't know. Opponent could randomly play some soft permission spell or something like that. Like I could play Bird or Library, but I don't really know. Do I just force you because I have something that I can force? The answer is probably yes. And then I have Brazen Borrower for whatever follow-up card you would play. I think Yorian's still going to be a thing. We might see it from time to time in Legacy still, but like the question of whether you play 60 versus 80 card Snowco now probably drifts a little bit closer to 60 card Snowco. Like, it was already pretty close before. Do I accept the Force of Will hand that otherwise is kind of awkward? It just has turn 1, cycle, get a redraw, turn 2, Fauna Shaman, turn 3, Oko, attack for either 2 or 3. I probably have to accept the Force of Will hands, even though like my opponent most certainly is mulliganing towards Cavern of Souls. Interesting. Like, there's worlds where I just elk that later on. But I'm going to show strength here. I think I have to, like... Man, did you... I was going to say, like, if you... Ugh. So, like, now my opponent just has the turn 2. I have to try to cycle into another force effect. Alright, I get 3 looks in 72 cards. Don't like my chances. Yep. Alright, so now I need them to whiff. They did not whiff. They kind of whiffed. I don't really know why they took Fauna Shaman there over the... So they they took... I could have sworn I saw a Dax duplicate. Oh, so this is the Dax duplicate. I see. Okay, and then second time around. All right, got it. Fauna Shaman was the only option in the second set of cards. So they can convert their Lotus Petal plus 1 creature card in hand into a more relevant creature card. But I might mize this game win off of Oko. This is kind of why Oko is so upsetting. Like, if my opponent was playing a regular fair deck, it wouldn't be out of the question that they would just like play a 2/2 on turn two, right? Or on one with acceleration, and then this comes down and everything else they've done is irrelevant. Actually, I'm going to run to the restroom real quick before I go into round 5 here. I will be right back. I just asked a friend of mine about the haste dethrone food, and they said that Moto was right. The duplicate can't copy effects on the creatures it's copying. I'm going to take your word for it. The 3/2 Dream is like actually live. It was not something that I was expecting going into this. Oh baby, Quest for Ula's Temple in the opening hand. Let's go. I feel like I recognize my opponent's username. Like I have this vague feeling like they've played Red Prison in the past. Not Red Prison. Always yes, always yield. That's a prismatic vista. Sorry, one sec, I'm trying to configure something. Sorry about that, I'll figure it out later. Alright, I'm probably stringing together 2 different Fairy Seers this turn. And I don't really see myself wanting to use my fetch land after I've scryed. I think we're just going to do something like this. And ideally we're going to try to find 2 creatures in a row here. Beautiful. Which one do I want to draw next turn? Sea Dasher Octopus next turn, probably. Let's go like top, top. Play another one. Let's go top, top. Actually, drawing a Sea Dasher Octopus next turn is kind of awkward, isn't it? Like, I won't want to mutate it next turn, probably, because then I would draw the other creature that I've scryed to the top. So next turn, oddly enough, will be hard cast Sea Dasher Octopus. Yeah, it's also possible that I save the Seer for like this turn or even the following turn. How do we bring the fatties into play? Quest for Ula's Temple. Like, spooky. Another Sea Dasher Octopus. I'm very afraid of just being dead. My opponent having yet another Lotus Petal here is pretty brutal. How do I win now? I can flash in Brazen Borrower, block Grizzlebrand, take 15, go to 3, hope opponent doesn't have a creature, sacrifice my 4 lands and 2 Fairy Seers, and then try to get out of it that way. I Brazen Borrower, bounce Grizzlebrand. I have to worry about it plus sneak attack every turn for the rest of the game. No, bouncing it with Borrower isn't super profitable. Like, it's just going to come back next turn. They still have red mana. If I just bounce it this turn and try to block it in a future turn, like, I'm losing most of my lands, so that becomes less likely. These 6 permanents are going. I'm going to try to cast Brazen Borrower in response to a draw 7 here if they do it. Nope. Now they'll draw 7, and I'll die to Force of Will. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6. To be clear, my opponent draws a bazillion cards and I probably still die. But this is the world where maybe I survive. If I bounce Grizzlebrand, they have sneak attack Grizzlebrand next turn, and I die to that. Why did you block Grizzlebrand and not Emrakul? Great question. I should have blocked Emrakul. Sorry, I was talking about the Grizzlebrand and just like that. But like obviously a bad play. I've talked about this plenty of times, but my off-stream win rate is usually about 10% higher than my on-stream win rate, just because of stuff like that, where like very obviously I know what the line is, but then I don't do it. Okay, so this is similar to before, where I don't think we're well suited to win the matchup, but like we'll see what we can do. Chalice does things, Veil does things, Flusterstorm does things, Brazen Borrower does things, Purling Ancient is going to be better than something like this. We'll board these out, we'll board the Fauna Shamans out like I've been doing. And then I'll probably play this Oko too. It can mise some game wins. Yeah, and that's sort of the reason why like I don't get that mad when I like time out while I'm streaming or anything like that. Like, just takes so much time and energy to do a decent job of explaining your lines and reasonings while also explaining like a relatively complicated game. Tapping out for these might be a little risky, but I don't really want to cut my creatures too much. I've already cut 4 or 5 based on what I've done thus far, which might be too many for Quest for Ula's Temple. And I still need to make 2 more cuts. I really don't want those cuts to be creatures. Maybe I'm being too overly ambitious about this Chalice thing working, since it doesn't actually stop the win conditions, and I'm also like playing 14 1-drops myself. Let's try it like this. So one of the most common mistakes that I make as a streamer is mentally, when I am streaming, I put things into 2 boxes. It's stuff I care about and stuff I don't care about. and anything that I don't care about, I pay almost no mental energy to. So, for example, if someone turn 1 Pithing Needles a Planeswalker that is not in my hand, that conceptually falls into the pile of things that I do not care about at all. So, if I draw that Planeswalker 10 turns later, I will not have thought about that Pithing Needle. I'll usually realize it pretty quickly, but every once in a while it's like after I've played the Planeswalker that's needled. There's a lot of that sort of thing. That's probably enough inside baseball for today. Always yes, always yield. An Inkwell Leviathan, that's great. See if I can Augury Owl, hit double creature here, and then be set for the rest of the game. I did. I will take all of this. So this will go top, top, top. So now, like, the only question is, like, how do I play my next turns? Alright, Forza will back up. I think this Flusterstorm is getting pitched at this point. Like, the Flusterstorm doesn't matter if this sneak attack resolves. I do not want to mess up the card that is currently on top of my library. That gives me Quest for Ula's Temple, which gives me both of my big creatures. So can I mutate at instant speed? I can, right? Well, it probably doesn't matter that Jared's gonna have oh no, they have Grizzlebrand. Sure. I guess we should have put it in the order, draw the Brazen Borrower first. But I guess that does not matter if opponent has all of that. Yeah, like this would have beaten the Brazen Borrower anyway. That's really disappointing. So, like, we had, what was that? So that was Inkwell and Simic Sky Swallower there. So we had 13 damage in the next turn cycle. Alright. So it goes. Obviously this deck wasn't good. We knew that going in. That's fine. Like, this was a for fun meme deck, but my primary question is, like, why is this deck 80 cards when it's entirely focused around Quest for Ula's Temple? And my second question is, why aren't there show and tells in here? So, like, obviously we played against the show and tell decks twice in this round, and that would be an instance where it's bad. But I think in a lot of occasions, like, if you're looking to put in Inkwell Leviathan, Simic Sky Swallower, or even to a lesser extent something like this, just having another early way to enable it so that you're not, like, 100% all in on this plan is probably fine. Like, if you're playing a 60-card deck and you have, like, Quest for Ula's Temple and, like, Show and Tell, or Hypergenesis, or Eureka, or Elvish Piper, and you have, like, some other ways to cheat in those creatures, I think you end up potentially with a deck that can more consistently do its thing. So there were a ton of games where we resolved Quest for Ula's Temple on turn 1, and, like, that just wasn't good enough. We just, like, died before we could string together the resources necessary to, like, make it work. A lot of the games that we won were on the back of Oko, because that card is just really stupid, or by, like, picking a good time to fight and win a counter war. The deck as is doesn't answer a lot of things. So, for example, we're not really good at answering creatures. We're hoping to just, like, play a bigger creature eventually, and that's good enough. And our quote-unquote removal is really bounce. which is a little bit questionable. But like that was definitely an interesting donation deck list. No regrets for playing it, and we had a couple of really fun matches. That said, we probably wanted to play against like non-combo decks, like Garuda and Show and Tell are probably not the sorts of things that we would be looking to play this sort of very slow Quest for Ula's Temple deck against. All right, I'm gonna check on the girlfriend status real quick, see if I should continue streaming or not. Yeah, the dethrone haste food was definitely a highlight.